A sleepy T-bone. Totally thought that was you. I was like, bro, you got coveralls on.
It's literally like Play-Doh.
Like Play-Doh. It's cow Play-Doh. Welcome back to Ag with Emma. Today, there's a lot of snow on the ground, and I am in southwest Minnesota with Andrea. And if you guys maybe have seen her on YouTube, because she has a YouTube channel. Plug yourself.
It's That Fit Advocate.
That Fit Advocate on YouTube. And I will link it down in the description. So everything we're going to cover today is also going to be covered on her channel in more depth and in a very educational way, because Andrea knows her stuff when it comes to cows, and you can see there's a lot of cows, cattle. We're going to cover why Minnesota is a little bit different than running cows out west, and you know, because the weather mostly. I'm just going to give you the spoiler.
Look around.
And then the confinement barn that they just put up, that's something new. And then different stages of cattle that they have in feedlots, feed yards kind of thing, and what they have to do also on their operation here. So tag along. With every cattle operation, it's different. They might start at different stages. They can start with different breeds of cattle. Everywhere is different. So on Andrea's operation, they do start to finish, and then they also will buy feeder calves to kind of supplement their space, the space that they have. So they want to fill up their space so they can make the most money within their resources. So this is a new confinement barn that they just put up, and this is kind of a newer idea and newer thing to be using within the cattle industry, and Andrea's going to tell us about it.
So we live not in range country, so this is like crop country, which is more of like what Emma loves, right? But I prefer cows. So around here, everything that is like tillable is cropland, so it's been hard to try to find more pasture to expand. And I was coming back into farm with my husband, so we're trying to figure out a way to expand the entire operation. This is what we did. So you can kind of use it different ways. One, it's just great for calving. You could put calves in here if you wanted to, but we're also going to have our older cows stay in here year round, and potentially even go out on corn stalks in the fall, and then you can get calves going. But it's just getting them in a dry space where they're protected out of the elements, because if Emma turns it, this is where our cows hang out in the winter before the barn. So we don't calve out here. We used to calve like in the actual lots. This would be a lot better, but if you can feed like byproducts, it actually is like super affordable, because we feed a lot of corn stalks, distillers, syrup, in addition to silage. But yeah, it's just a different way to produce cattle in controllable situations.
So now we're going to go over what is in the different pens and the differences between those cattle, just so you guys know, give you a baseline, and then we can go over how it helps the flow of their operation.
Okay, so those first two pens are actually together, so you can close off each pen. There's 6 pens in the barn, or you can combine them. So like if you wanted all 6 to run together, you could. So the first 2, we have them together right now. Most of the pen in here is first calf heifers, so they're going to have their first calves ever. That's why they're called a heifer. They are due Valentine's Day, so pretty soon. And then we do have a couple cows in here, like in the back. My old 17-year-old cow is in here getting some extra feed, because she does better in the barn, obviously, than like outside. And then any of the cows that need a little extra condition or are a pain in the butt to get back in the barn and don't trust us, we left them in here to make our lives easier when we have to kick cows back in. So that's this pen. And then moving down, we bought some West River cattle. They're in the barn. That way, if they don't respect the fence, the electric fence out here, they're stuck in here. So that's where they're at. But eventually, they'll all be in here to calve.
We also got little farm peppers.
It's my base brand.
Oh, my hands are cold, bud. How do you like that? And then on the flip side, these are the OGs, and they just did a lot of testing on those.
Yeah, so we're doing some genomic testing on our home raised cows. We might get into the market of raising replacement heifers, just because it's another opportunity we have for this barn. And then we also want to build back the herd and get to the point that we are doubling and tripling the original girls with our own genetics instead of the bought-in cows, because we just bought some like hardy animals. They're not anything fancy over there, but I like a lot of these girls, so trying to bring them back into the herd over the next couple of years is the goal. So the genomic testing will tell you which ones are actually like saving you money every year, or you're making more profit on their calves, and it'll tell you which ones are costing you more to produce calves every year. So it just gives you a little bit more data on keeping replacements, and then knowing kind of like who's really doing well and who's not.
More examples of efficiency within operations. Genetics, it's all genetics. Like life is literally genetics. So the fact that there's new testing coming out for genetics to save ranchers and farmers and everyone time and money is super huge. Another piece of Andrea's operation is that they do crops as well. So with the cattle that we just showed you, these guys out on pasture right now, they're gonna grow crops in that this year.
This will be corn, so we do a 50-50 rotation. So it was soybeans this last year. This actually was soybeans, all of this. We actually like ran them over to put the barn up. It was great.
Perfect.
It was a little sad. Sorry, seed company. But this will be our corn. This is actually where we'll chop silage for the year and potentially some earlage. There's a big section here. And then the field across will be soybeans. So they can also run out on here. They run corn stalks in the fall. And then this is just, they have a small, if you can like see, a single wire hot fence just for their winter yard. So just before it thaws, they'll be out of here because otherwise we get compaction issues. And they'll go in the barn to calve. So.
They're gonna come from right here to right over
They
here.
were in the other day. We worked them off, but we have about 30 cows that won't fit in the barn, so they'll actually be in like a lot, but it'll be the cows that aren't calving first, and then we'll move pairs out and cycle in a little bit. So.
And that is where they work cows.
Yeah.
Good old chute, which is, I know Andrea shared a lot about that chute on her Instagram and probably on her YouTube as well. Yes.
Neck extender, can't. Great, it makes my life easy.
Another part of the reason they put that barn up is because they're running out of pasture up here. Not running out, just like running out.
You just can't find any, and if you do, it's really expensive. Or like somebody gets it and it like will never be for sale ever again. So yeah. We have enough pasture for like 65 head because we lost some pasture. Otherwise, like there's just not any around here.
So that's why you go to lots and feeding TMRs and chopping silage when you can. So you come from the barn, you come over here, and there's lots of cows.
So I'm gonna preface my dog's ready to get them. I'm gonna preface this by saying we got like 2 feet of snow recently. We've had a lot of snow, which is great for moisture, but it's making things very challenging. And we haven't been able to scrape because it's freezing really hard at night, so that's why there's piles of muddy, manure snow. So these are our pens. These are currently feeder calves, feedlot pens, whatever you want to call them. And I didn't really like just talk about this, but technically they're in the grower stage, and sometimes in different operations where there's not a lot of snow, this is done out on pasture, on fields. They run in like background calves. Because we live where we live and it's snowy and they can't eat anything, our calves stay in the feedlot all the way through the feedlot world, feedlot process becoming beef. So this side is our home raised calves. Blue tags are mine and my husband's, red tags are my parents' calves. That's how we keep them different. And then these are the bought-in calves we bought out of Wisconsin actually. So
Ooh.
a little bit of a cheaper price, so a little bit higher risk calves, but we watch them really close when they come in and we like give them the full vaccinations when they come in. But they're separate. We will work them in the next week and then we'll put them together, but separate them based on gender. So we have steers and heifers.
Good old Wisconsin cows. This is as close as I'm going to get to Wisconsin within the next couple weeks.
I should just like go over there. Close. There's lots of Simmental crosses coming out of it.
And then I guess this is kind of important to note. What they run here is Simmental Angus crosses for the most part.
Yeah, so we have Angus-based cows and then we cross with Simmental bulls, and here's the boys actually. We do have one limousine bull left. He's the old guy. I think he's over there. But the rest of them are at least like 75% Simmentals or purebred Simmentals. So we use the heterosis in the feedlot because it produces really well, and then the crosses are nice too if you keep them back as replacements.
And then this is the last pen.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of fat cattle to show you because we only have 35 left, and 2 of them are actually going to go to our local locker. So these guys are actually shipping out by the end of the month or beginning of February. We're waiting on the date with trucking. So they're kind of our tail enders. They have taken longer to finish for a reason, so these aren't the ones that'll make you all the money. They're actually costing you a little bit, and the weather's been pretty crappy, so
they're costing you extra money.
Yeah, because they're just kind of like maintaining or like feeding them more, and I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. So our first group of fats went out in July, so you can tell like it's January like 20th now. They're just a little bit slower. Most of them are bought-in calves, so it's good to know that like our genetics are doing well. But these guys are all about 1,450, 1,500 pounds, and they will be beef and byproducts very, very, very soon for you guys. So there's the fats.
Those are your T-bone and ribeyes.
Basically.
Thanks, homie. Just a sleepy T-bone. And then for you guys that aren't familiar with the cattle industry, what are fats?
Okay, so I'll give you like all these feeders. These are feeder calves. Essentially, feeder calves are anything that's like post-weaning before they become fat cattle. So feeder calves, these guys are like 10 months old. These are fat cattle. These are approaching 2 years. Usually between 1.5 years and 2 years is when they're processed. So fat cows, essentially your cattle that are like, they're chunky. They do that.
That was not Andrea. That was the cat. I totally thought that was you. I was like, bro, you got coveralls on.
That's what they do. They're just like giant chunky monkeys. She's like, you guys are judging me right now. But we call them fats because they're fat cattle. That's what they would call them if they like run through a sale barn. But they have that fat on their body that gives you the marbling and the flavor and the meat because they're corn-fed beef up here. But yeah, fats, feeders, and then like you have calves. Calves are still like on moms, cows, heifers. There's lots of terminologies, but that's feeders and fats. Those are the big two terms that you'll hear in the beef industry, and then yearlings sometimes. But
And yearlings are just year-old cows.
yeah,
Cattle.
we'll run yearlings on like
Calves.
grass. They'll call them yearlings.
Yeah.
We don't have grass right now, so our yearlings are like
They'd be snowlings.
in here.
In terms of feeding all of these monstrosities of gassiness and lovely T-bones, there's a big old silage pile over here. And I've gone over TMR on my channel a little bit before. Total mixed ration. It's basically just a good oofy-joofy mixture of cow feed that's basically like a smoothie in solid form for your cows. And that's what gets put in the bunks. And it'll have like silage, it'll have distillers, it'll have cake, it'll have candy in it. Some like they put a lot of stuff in cattle feed because cattle are upcyclers and they'll eat what you don't eat. So you let your food expire, that's probably going in some TMR somewhere or getting all mushed up and thrown in a garden. There's not a lot of waste in agriculture, and that really shows, for me anyways, within the cattle industry, because they're feeding these guys so much stuff and it's turning into protein that you can eat. So just quick recap: silage, there's some bales over there, distillers, that is the good stuff.
Modified distillers.
Modified distillers, wet distillers, right?
Correct. Well, it's in between wet and dry. It's like perfectly in between. So like your dry distillers is like powder, it blows away in the wind. We have wind, so we can't have dry. And wet separates, so you'd have to have a bigger pad for it. So modified sits in between.
Modified. Oh, Emma learned something new today.
It's our favorite because it's like Play-Doh. Like it.
Yeah.
Fresh stuff. Good stuff.
It's a byproduct of ethanol production. See?
It's literally like Play-Doh.
Like Play-Doh. It's cow Play-Doh.
They love it. They're like, if you find a chunk of it in their feed, they're like the most excited little things.
Give me all the
Funny when they're,
distillers.
like, frozen pieces and like they have the entire thing in their mouth and they just like try to eat it for like 10 minutes.
And then in this bunk, it looks like it was soybean.
It was cracked corn.
Cracked corn. Perfect.
So we usually grind our own corn because we have it already, so we don't have to like buy it. But it's been really cold and crappy, so we actually started feeding our earlage pile instead, so we don't have to have the old grinder out because it's like 25, 30 years old, and that's kind of like on the fritz. So since we did the earlage pile, we're feeding that. That way we don't have to like sit out here and grind corn for 2 hours when it's
Perfect.
like this.
When it's this cold. And that's the earlage pile right there.
The earlage is behind that.
Oh,
That's
just
ground
kidding.
hay and ground corn stalks.
That is more silage stuff. Earlage is back there, behind there.
Behind it.
So Emma's initial review of being here and listening to what Andrea has to go through in the winter and feeling it or not feeling it.
It's so nice out right now too. It's like 25 degrees.
I can't feel anything. But running cattle up here is a lot different than running cattle. Like other places still get harsh winters, but other places still have a much longer season where they can have them out on pasture. And a lot more people from Idaho, where I'm from, have the ability to feed out on pasture still. Not feeding pasture, but they're putting hay out on pasture and running their cows outside still. So
What you can hear,
Yeah.
you just deal with like most of our cows like run on corn stalks. If they're out there, you get compaction issues.
yeah.
Some people will, like we have our little area, then you just have to make sure that gets tilled. But it just depends on their preference. A lot of people just bring them home because then it's like blizzards. You can just
They're all right there.
stay at like your farm to feed. You don't have to go like down the road.
Yes. And so that's like, it's like a mixture between ranching and farming to me.
Yeah, I think it's a big question I have all the time. I think it's more of like a territorial thing too. Like nobody up here is like, I'm a rancher. We all call ourselves
Because
farmers.
yeah.
It's weird.
So
But
that's
we're
why we need like a mixed term, like a francher.
Honestly though,
They're
I'm like,
franchers.
I do what ranchers do. We just don't like have them out on like range country. Like it's just a
Exactly.
whole different world.
They're not running up in the mountains, but they're not running, all feedlot. So they're franching. Welcome to the franching industry. Another piece of Andrea's operation. They got a lot of goats in here and they all just had their kids. Literally, that's what baby goats are called. If you didn't know that, they're kids. So, we got your mama cricket over here and the plastic eater. They're just very, yep. So they'll sell these to people that want some pet goats. And most of them are registered, right?
Yeah, they're all fainters, and then probably 80% of them are registered. So fun fact, there's a whole registration world of fainting goats. It's really weird.
These are the ones that pass out. They go boo and they're like, ah.
Let's see if we can get them to do it. That should be a little bit of a She was oxygen deprived when she was born.
Oxygen
So we
deprived.
found her with her head stuck out, and she was really swollen. I didn't think she was gonna make it. She made it, and now she just shakes.
She's got like tremors.
Yeah, all the time. Even when she faints, she'll be like shaking. Yeah. And the other three, their mom had a bad bag, so she didn't have any milk. That's why they bottled feed.
And that is why they have to bottle feed these rambunctious little kiddos. Literally kiddos.
They're great. They're so much fun.
Oh! There you go. There's some more goats. Little babies. The old shoddy moonlight gets a special. She just dumped the silage in there, but there's distillers and everything else we just covered. Look at that. Oh, there's earlage in there.
Yep.
Right there.
She doesn't have any teeth, so cows as they get older, they turn their nubs right. Yeah.
They just got nubs.
Special diet. All right, I'm gonna get your head out of here. You weirdo. The other one's like, oh wait a little bit. Okay, I'll eat some now. Enjoy. She's like the biggest pain in the butt in the entire world. Like everybody here, like hates her.
Sassy. She's getting ornery.
This happens since a bottle calf.
Oh. Someone else is gonna snag it. You guys are broken.
You smell different, man. You look like this is not the normal lady.
Oh, dropped it. There, now they'll eat it. They're not used to me, so they don't like me. Hey guys, that is all we have with Andrea. If you want to see more about all of her cows and her capped plate series, which is really cool, I like watching those videos, you can go check out her YouTube channel and Instagram and TikTok, and all under That Fit Advocate. So thank you so much.
Of course.
And as always, hasta la pasta.